Hey, Samara.
Hey, Jeannie.
Do you know what one of my favorite all-time seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race is?
Which one?
It is season 4. That's when I feel like it really, really found its stride.
That was a good season.
That was. It was Willem.
Mm-hmm. When Willem got kicked off and vomited.
Willem freed herself.
And apparently Willem was reading the passive-aggressive production girlies to filth on the backstage.
Yeah, she made quite the impression. Of course, there was Latrice Royale.
Love, love, love.
The queen of the world.
The Grande Dame.
The Grandest Dame. She who shall not be named, and also she who will also shall not be named.
Oh, that's right.
But they made it an incredible season.
They did.
They did. But one of the most precious jewels, one of my favorite people of all time from season 4 was Jiggly Caliente.
Oh, Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff. I do love Jiggly. Sadly, she has shoved off her mortal coil.
Yeah.
And she is with us no longer. But god damn it, what an impact.
Yes.
On the drag community. Not just the drag community, but the world as a whole.
Yeah.
Actress, activist.
Yeah.
Loving partner, friend.
Yes. Queen of America and the Philippines.
I don't know anybody that has, or have never heard of anyone to have a bad word to say about Jiggly Caliente.
No.
And if you do, you're a scumbag.
Yeah, we will find you.
But this is for Jiggly.
Yeah.
Cheers. You will be missed.
Yeah. Yes.
Are you ready to pick up on the sick, sordid tale of Cindy Campbell Ray? Ooh, I did it right.
Yay!
And David Duvall West.
Let's do this.
Jeannie.
Yeah.
Bitch better have my money. Pay me what you owe me. Bitch better have my, bitch better have my, bitch better have my money.
I begrudge her that. I begrudge her a cool theme song like that.
Pay me what you owe me.
Cindy, you're delusional and deserve nothing.
So by fall of 1983, Cecilia was getting worried that the fight over the estate had killed whatever was left of Cindy's sanity.
Oh, wow. Wow.
For Cecilia West to be concerned with somebody's sanity is some shit.
I know, or to assume she had any left.
I mean, Cindy's just the hyper version of her.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Which is like, wow, Cecilia.
Yeah. You seem unbalanced.
Yeah, that I would have been upset by that. That would have been shade. But no, you're like, true.
Yeah, I know, right?
Whatever. Cindy talked about the estate constantly.
Oh my god.
Constantly, she's talking about the estate.
Yeah.
And like, not always in a conversation like this. A lot of it's like Gollum, like, I mean, you're stealing from me, Gollum.
Oh my god. She is Gollum.
She smells like a Gollum.
I know, she lives in a cave with like the litterings of her eatings and yeah.
Yeah, only no fish heads that I know of. They may not have been reported.
Yeah.
Could have been fish heads. I don't know.
Right?
But yeah, so she's constantly, the estate, they're stealing from me. I know they're taking from me.
Oh my god.
They're stealing from me. And then she's actively talking to people about it too.
Yeah.
So you can't escape the estate.
Yeah.
Now, Cindy swore that her fair share of the estate should be millions.
Of course.
Remember, Cindy thought she was going to inherit anywhere from $3 to $5 million.
Yeah.
Her sisters and her uncle, who are sane.
Yeah.
And realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And know how math works.
Yes.
Are like, no, your share is about $200,000.
Yeah.
Which seems right.
Yes.
Because remember, her parents were millionaires, but they weren't ridiculous millionaires.
Yeah. And she's been given an allowance and taking little advances too.
Oh, we'll get to that shit later.
Oh, so this is before the advances.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll repeat this much, much later on, but at the end of the day, Cindy's sisters and uncles decide to give her the apartment building plus $300,000.
Yeah.
This is mostly just to make her go the fuck away.
Yeah.
And settle it, because she's really trying to drag this out forever.
Yeah.
But after all of the advances and everything, her $300,000 really only comes to $25,000.
Serves her right.
She's taking $500 a week advances. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they say it's a week, sometimes they say it's a month. I think it varies depending on what she needs.
Yeah.
There might be only 1 month where she only wanted $500.
But she also owes all those IOUs to the lawyers.
Yes. Yeah, so this...
She has expenses.
Right, so this $200,000 is mostly spent. Mm-hmm. Either from her advances, IOUs to the lawyers, and taxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
You know, but her sisters and uncle know how math works. And that's... Yeah, that's right. And Cindy's like, it should be more! And they're just like, no.
You just want more.
Yeah, because, like, this is all there is.
Yeah.
I get 2, you get 2, this one gets 2, this one gets 2. This is all there is.
That's what you get for killing your dad before he had finished his earning potential.
You know what? She actually, when you really think about it, because James and Virginia would have been in their late 50s, early 60s when they passed, when they died. If she just would have let everything stay the same and let those people work until they were in their 70s and 80s, like a lot of people do, I'm gonna assume that James Campbell and Virginia were the type of people that would retire at 72, but be bored and still work.
Yeah, probably. And they were frugal, and they would have lived on their Social Security, and there just would have been more for these kids to have, and stupid ass Cindy would have been getting like a lot more money that wouldn't be taken out of her inheritance, because her parents just would have bailed her out no matter what.
She could have gotten to $3 million that she thinks
but
was
she's a
there.
frickin' idiot. She is stupid, she is mean, she is selfish and short-sighted, and...
Yeah, she killed them before they could get to the $3 million inheritance point.
I hope every day since she had them killed was hell. And it sounds like it.
It's rough. Anything the sisters and Uncle JW... Anytime the sisters and Uncle J-Dub would try to make Cindy see reason, like, look, this is all there is.
Yeah.
Or... The $200,000 cash plus the building is what they got for her right now. Mm-hmm. The other sisters and Uncle J-Dub are holding firm with keeping the family's real estate assets because the market was about to boom.
Yeah.
And
it's always smart to hang on to assets.
Right, so they
Don't liquidate them immediately.
They were holding firm on the strategy of the cash is the cash. Mm-hmm. The keepsakes are the keepsakes. But the things that could really bring us actual money to support Cindy's children, Nanny Helen, and maybe a little something for our own individual children.
Yeah, the actual wealth.
Is going to be the real estate. Yeah. So let's not sell it all straight away. So the sisters and J-Dub are firm on that. Mm-hmm. So that means it's really only that $200. Yeah. Plus the building. Yeah, that's it. But when they tried to get Cindy to see reason, she would just scream at him, "It's my money! You're stealing my goddamn money!"
Wow. It must have taken so much strength not to, like, bash her right in the face when she's doing that.
Stab her in the chest with a fucking steak fork like Wolverine. Yeah. I just rewatched Logan earlier this afternoon, so the part where, like, the clone stabs him in the chest with his own claw. That. Yeah. Every day, I would just be walking around with steak knives in my hand, waiting for her to come so I could punch her in the chest. My money! You're stealing my goddamn money! Gross. Now, because Cindy's broke, I mean, she's broke but not broke. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because they're still giving her the advances. Yeah. Anywhere from every week to every month, she's getting no less than $500 at any given moment. Mm-hmm. But she broke. So she's resorting to asking Cecilia for money.
Oh. That'll test the friendship.
Somebody got to support her ass. I mean, she ain't gonna get out and work and do... Yeah.
honestly, I would not wish to inflict as much as like, yeah, you should work for what you like consume and whatever. I would hate to inflict her on anyone who works for a living. Could you imagine?
6 of one, half dozen of the
Ooh.
other. It is no one's responsibility to continue to support Cindy in whatever fuckery that she's doing.
Amen.
That is
so
nobody's responsibility, especially once her parents are dead.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
Yeah.
The only people that should have been responsible for you or could have realistically been responsible for you,
Yeah.
you killed them.
Yeah, they're gone.
After that, this is strictly a Cindy problem, not a rest of the world problem.
Definitely.
But I do take your point. She would be the worst coworker. Could you imagine her stocking shelves at the Costco or the Target?
Just constantly muttering about her grievances.
Excuse me, ma'am. Where are the avocados?
My family is stealing my goddamn money. I don't have time to tell you where the avocados are.
But
Spend my phone time.
But I need avocados and juice and I can't find them.
You're stealing my time.
Right. So
just lunacy. I can't imagine her being helpful even if she's not fixated on a lunatic thing.
So I think both things are a little bit true.
Ew, she would be like sleazing on the single men.
That too.
Ugh.
When she wasn't cursing out customers for asking her to do a job, she would be sleazing on single men.
Or just stinking near the produce. Because I'm imagining her in a grocery store for whatever reason.
Fair. Because it's on the short list of places that would hire her, Cindy.
Exactly.
Grocery stores, gas stations, retail spots. It's a very short list of people that would even be hard up enough for a workforce to deal with this level of fuckery.
Oh my god.
So she's borrowing money from Cecilia. It's never a lot. $20 here, $50 there. She shops her refrigerator just like she did her parents' house, so we can throw that in there. Yeah. But it was starting to strain the friendship. By November, Cindy was complaining about headaches and saying that she had a skull fracture.
Oh my god.
From an abusive ex.
No.
When he cracked a chair over her head some years ago.
Oh, fuck. I was going to say lucky guy.
No.
Or is it like for banging your head against the wall? My money, my money, my money.
I wish she was banging her head against the wall because then she would be proactive.
I know, right? Look at you doing something with your life. Good for you, Cindy.
Even if it is giving herself a skull fracture.
I know. Well, and I'd hand her like a football helmet. You can do it even harder now.
I had a friend that had a TBI that, like, in the towards the end, he did have an actual helmet.
Bless his heart.
Because he had had 2 really bad accidents that each caused a TBI.
Yeah.
So they were compounded on each other. And yeah, after a while, he got a helmet.
Aw, bless.
Because, like...
Grown up with helmets. I don't know why that makes me laugh so much.
Because, like, the normal shit of, like, you open a cabinet and the pill bottle fell out and hit you in the head.
Yeah.
For us, it's like, God damn it. For him, it could be, like, serious because he had those TBIs.
Yeah.
So he had a helmet, and it cracked me the fuck up. Every single time.
Was it a cool helmet?
No, it was just, like, a big, blue, goofy-looking thing, and it was funny.
I put stickers on it or something.
He knew it was stupid.
Yeah.
So he just kind of was like, this is my life. Here's my stupid helmet. Throw things at me.
That's a good attitude.
Because he was that kind of douche, bro. He was like, I got on my helmet. You can chuck shit at me right now.
I'm invincible.
He was a weirdo. But Cindy had no skull fracture.
Yeah, of course not. If only.
The Campbell family, her sisters and her Uncle J-Dub, took her to a doctor, got the scans, did the MRI, did the thing. They took her at face value. She's having headaches.
Yeah.
Let us make sure serious medical intervention. Actually, they were probably thinking, she's having headaches. Maybe this will explain her.
Yeah.
Low-key, her sisters and her uncle were hoping to find, like,
a tumor.
A tumor.
Yeah.
Or some sort of growth. Or
some abnormality
like
that would explain.
Schizophrenia, full section.
Yeah.
She was born without a full third of her brain.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't blame them because it's like, sure that like bad people happen. Sometimes you never know. I think it stems from selfishness, honestly.
yes, a lot of it does.
But she's like, Jesus Christ. She seems like really. There's not like a spectrum of selfishness in this.
No,
family
she just,
like it.
she's always been this nutty.
Yeah.
She's always been this crazy since childhood.
Yeah, like I don't know if you could nurture this person out of it.
No,
This is such a
because if you
determined
could, the Campbells
dysfunction.
would have.
Yeah, like there's something missing in her brain, but they didn't find anything.
They didn't find anything, so
Like, I'm guessing a very frustratingly normal-looking brain.
yes, because
God
low-key,
damn it.
her sisters and uncles were like, this could be it. We could get a because
Yeah.
if they get a diagnosis, there's a thing wrong with her.
Yes.
You can deal with that.
Yes, like degenerative, like nerve disease, something.
You can handle that. She'll still be a PETA. She'll
Yeah.
still be a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
But you can deal with a tumor.
exactly. Or oh my God, she started like getting Alzheimer's when she was in high school.
But you
Like
can deal with
something
that.
like
You can
that.
deal with it. All of those things can be dealt with.
Like we never thought. Okay, no, it's demons.
Yeah.
It's spirits now.
Yeah, you know, the Catholics came by. The priest put the demons in your house.
Exactly.
Then they waited until spring for the demons to hatch.
Yeah,
And then by fall, they can do their
I
exorcism.
know.
I've
It's
learned
just the family never got around to the exorcism.
I've learned so much since the Pope died. I've learned so much. By the end of 1984, all the Campbell sisters were absolutely positively sure of Cindy's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
All that hand wringing about, no, but she could never.
I know.
Not that. Da 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 da.
But it's like the stages of grief. Part of it's denial and bargaining, and now I'm hoping they're getting to the anger and acceptance.
Yeah, because the Campbells have been dead almost a year.
Yeah.
So the investigation into Cindy is going to take a little over 2 years.
Okay.
So we're like almost about eight months, 1 year out.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the Campbell sisters are like, nah, she did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that hand wringing and all of that bullshit was a front,
Yeah.
and the bitch fucking did it.
Yeah.
And
She
what
wants some
really
money.
cemented that in the minds of their sisters, the spouses, Uncle J Dub,
Yeah.
was the way Cindy was fighting to settle the estate.
Yeah.
She was fighting in a way that a grieving, upset,
Yeah.
emotionally
Yeah.
upset person would not
Yeah.
do.
She's fighting like a greedy little duck.
Yeah. I'm a miser. Like, mine, go, scat, scat. It's all that, but
That's who she
meaner.
reminds me of.
But meaner.
I know. Yeah.
I would almost say that you could deal with the crazy if she wasn't so goddamn mean.
Yeah. That's the other part of it. And none of it makes sense. The crazy or the mean.
Like,
It
without
just
putting,
happens to be.
without putting too much of my business in the streets, I am from a very large family.
Mm-hmm.
My dad is 2 of 13,
Mm-hmm.
which means I got my average family reunion clocks about 400 people
Yeah.
on a regular, right? So I have my fair share of crazy relatives.
Yeah.
And I don't even understand this
I
level of
know.
crazy and mean. I
Yeah.
feel like you pick one. You're
Yeah.
either going to be mean or you're going to be crazy.
Yeah.
This family, the Campbell family, is too
Yeah.
small to have that much.
Yeah.
It's like, when I talk about my family crazy, I'm just like, but there's so many of them.
I know.
That I could just be like, yeah, opt out of these ones.
Yeah.
Check in with these ones because they're huge. But no, it's just the 4 sisters, the uncle,
Yeah.
some straggling cousins. They don't have a big family.
Yeah. And she is just so uniquely nuts.
Nobody can call it,
Yeah.
which is why they're praying for a tumor.
I know. It disturbs me. It disturbs everyone's spirit.
It's a tumor, it's a tumor. It's a tumor, it's a tumor, it's a tumor. It's a tumor, it's a tumor, it's a tumor. Oh, it's a tumor. But it wasn't.
Damn.
So through her lawyer, Cindy was constantly accusing the family of trying to screw her out of money.
Mm-hmm.
When it was her turn to inspect a vacant property, like the family home, for example,
Yeah.
which would be one of the first things that the family decided to offload.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because it wasn't valuable, but just like the memories and
Yeah.
too much trauma.
Yeah.
So it was, out of all of the Campbell's real estate holdings, the family home was like the one that everybody was like, and it can go.
Yeah. That's a shame.
But like the lake house, strip mall, stuff like
they have
that.
other things where, and they have nice memories, I would hope, at the lake house.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but I could see where like the bad outweighs the good with the family home.
So when it came time to inspect the family home to get rid of it, Cindy had the locks changed.
Oh yeah?
She went out. The sisters and Uncle J Dub all go do the inspection together. Cindy can't show up that day. She says she got shit to do. Bitch ain't got shit to do but be nutty. Everything she's like, I can't. I'm busy. Busy doing what, bitch?
I know, right?
Being stinky D's, smelly, trust and believe. That takes none of your time. That is just a state of being.
Stare at a corner and yell at it about what the world owes me.
Girl.
Right? You know that's what she's doing.
So the rest of the family went together. This is one of the last times they're ever going to be in this house.
Yeah. That's be very emotional.
The last thing that ever happened there was hella traumatic. Remember, all of the sisters but Cindy stayed in their childhood rooms right before the funeral. So there's a lot going on when it comes to offloading this house. And the fact that not only did Cindy not go to the appraisement inspection with her sisters, but when she went by herself, she changed the locks to keep the sisters and Uncle J Dub from going back.
Why?
Because she thinks that she could get more or they're doing something.
Oh, okay.
She thinks that they're doing something to the house to make sure that she can't get maximum money out of it.
Oh, gross. That is so gross.
I don't know, she thinks they're pulling copper out of the walls or stealing pipes, but she thinks that they're doing something to that house that would impede on how much money she would get.
Yeah, just a little control freak.
So she changed the locks to keep them out.
Do you think she probably thought she could just steal the house and sell it by herself and keep all the money for herself?
Possibly.
I mean, I would think so with her trying to change the locks.
Cindy is so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in general and about this estate.
Yes.
Both things. I wouldn't put any of it past her.
Right? I know.
Like, the sisters,
I'm reading a lot, but...
The sisters don't say that implicitly.
Yeah.
Implicitly? That's the vodka. But I don't think anybody puts it past her.
Yeah.
Either.
Right? I wouldn't.
And the only reason she can't is because there are 4 sisters.
Yeah.
And their uncle is an honest administrator of the estate.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping her from doing any fuck shit.
That also, I think anyone would be so off-put by her that they'd be like, I don't want to buy this.
Cindy tried to file a civil suit against Uncle J Dub.
What a cow.
And in that suit, she demanded that she be made co-executor of the estate.
Just
That's why I think you're onto something about her wanting to try to steal
I mean,
the real estate out from under the other sisters.
Yeah.
She just wasn't in a position to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why she was like, I'll get myself co-executor.
Yeah.
You
know what? Oh, it must have worked against her so hard not like having like a regular ID or like a bank account. Like she might still have that ID, but I guarantee she didn't have the bank account anymore.
No, not anymore. And later on, she did have an ID that Rory helped her get. She eventually abandons that because she's very transient.
Yeah.
She doesn't, outside of the apartment that she inherits, she's very semi-transient.
Yeah.
And she can go off the grid for months.
Oh, no doubt.
And she'll eventually turn up back at that apartment. But she could go months and years just out doing fuck shit.
Yeah.
Before she turns up at that apartment. Soon, Cindy and Betty were fighting every time they were on the phone. Now remember, Betty and the other sisters are trying to keep in regular contact with Cindy so that they can keep her even.
Yeah.
And if they get any information, they can pass that on to the authorities. Cindy's making that very, very difficult.
Of course.
And eventually her and Betty are just having screaming matches every time they get on the phone. Like, they can't even pretend to have a civil conversation for 2 or 3 minutes before it's like, fuck you, you're stealing my money, fuck you, you crazy murdering whore.
Yeah.
Like, they can't. And these battles were, like I said, taking a toll on keeping tabs on Cindy, because that was the whole point of the sisters rotating these conversations.
Yeah.
One day, Betty called Cindy to find that the phone was disconnected.
Oh.
This is why I said even though she got an ID,
Yeah.
she didn't keep up with it in a way that would make it meaningful.
Yeah.
To figure out where she went or what she did, because she's sure shit didn't get another one for the next county over.
Oh, hell no.
The next state over. She didn't update the city with changes of address or none of that shit. That's how they found out Cindy had moved.
She's on the run. She's in the wind.
She is running loose in the wild, and that's what the Campbell sisters were afraid of.
Yeah.
Since their parents were killed, they were afraid of Cindy just in the wild.
Yeah.
Well,
I can see that.
If she's nutty enough to kill their parents, whether she pulled the trigger or was in on the plot, she's nutty enough to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, what else would she do?
Exactly.
If she would kill her own
I
parents.
would not feel safe with her just like on the loose.
The Campbell sisters are scared for the entire state of Texas, Oklahoma, and other neighboring states.
Yes, as they should be.
Along with their own physical safety, but
Absolutely.
like there is nothing good happens from Cindy being in the world.
No.
But Cindy would always come back because she needed her weekly, monthly stipend.
Yes.
So she would come back, get her advance for the week, for the month, whatever, because she's not consistent. Even in the book, it's not consistent of if it's weekly or monthly advances that she's getting.
It's just whenever she's asking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she may show up once a month for a little while and just take that $500. She may show up every week expecting that $500.
Yeah.
But whenever she turns up, she gets no less than $500. So she would come in, get her money, and disappear again. Since Cindy was still checking in by phone, the sisters were able to offer Cindy a settlement.
Okay.
This is where she gets to keep the apartment building where she's living, sort of. But she gets to keep it.
Yeah.
And $300,000.
Which is hugely generous, in my opinion.
Now, $300,000 less the money that had been taken in advance or had been promised to lawyers or needed to be earmarked for taxes.
Yeah.
$300,000 less those things comes out to $25,000.
Dang.
Which is the check they cut her.
Yeah.
In later interviews, the sisters and Uncle J-Dub would say that the settlement was more than Cindy's rightful share.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at this point, they were just willing to give her stuff and shut her the fuck up.
Yeah.
Then they didn't want to risk losing everything.
Yeah.
Because of fighting with Cindy.
Yeah.
She put the entire, there may very well have been multi-millions of dollars there. Especially when you look into the real estate.
Yes.
It is very possible that there could have been $3 to $5 million that Cindy speculated was there. But nobody wanted to risk it fighting with her constantly.
Yeah.
Because if she wins, she's not going to be a good steward.
Hell no.
Of whatever the thing is.
No, I think, like, she probably thought it was $3 to $5 million because that's probably, that's what you would get if you sold everything. And she just wanted to liquidate.
Right.
And
the sisters aren't willing to do that.
Idiot. Yeah.
Because, as the sister said, there are more people to think about than just the four sisters.
What was that case in, like not Nevada, not California, where that shithead wanted to sell his, the wife he murdered her, like, family's farm? Like, he was screaming for money, and they, in order to save their dairy business. They had to bribe him with a couple $100,000.
The Bergness.
Yes,
The
that's the
Bergness.
one.
And that was actually in between California and Nevada, Northern California specifically, because she came from a farm family. And they lived in the mountains of Nevada, about 90 minutes outside of Vegas.
Yeah.
In a spot where you could see both the lights of Vegas and Sacramento.
Yeah, yeah.
From different places.
But that was another one where we have like... But he was like less insane than Cindy.
No, he was just...
He was just greedy.
Yeah, he was
focused.
just straight greed.
Yeah. She's just greedy and crazy.
Cindy liked the deal. She liked getting $300,000 plus the deed to this building up front. She likes that. But she had one condition. Ask me what the condition is.
Oh, God, what's the condition?
She needs to be able to evict Nana Helen.
Oh, come on.
This woman is ill.
Yeah.
She is infirm. She is in her early 70s.
Yeah.
But she has several strokes, a bad hip,
Yeah.
degenerative arthritis.
Even if not, that's a fucked up thing to do, to throw grandma out of her apartment. Fuck you, Cindy.
Not just any grandma, your grandma.
Exactly.
This ain't some random grandma.
Yeah.
This your grandma.
Is this when they punch her in the throat? Is this when they as a family beat her down?
No.
Why?
It should have been, but it wasn't.
Right.
You know why? Because the other sisters have gone back to Austin and Tennessee respectively, and it's a 3 to 5 hour trip to beat her ass, and they all have their own lives to live.
True.
If they were closer in town, it may have been a different story. But they are 3 to 5 hours away respectively, and they got their own lives to live. But they all probably thought about it.
Yeah.
Is today the day we all converge and just jump her, beat her on the street?
Yes.
No, but they are learned women. They are zoologists and psychiatrists and broadcasters. They are learned women that know better. But I wouldn't blame them.
No one would.
In one conversation, Cindy said that she needed to evict Grandma because I need to rent that apartment for extra income. Bitch.
Yeah.
The rent that you're getting from the other two people is more than enough to handle your property taxes.
Exactly.
And give you a little bit to live off on.
Yeah.
Plus, you just got a check for $25,000. Oh, that's right. You're not good with money.
Yeah.
You're not good with
spent it already, haven't you?
Betty was of two minds around evicting Nana Helen. On the one hand, their mother, who is Nana Helen's daughter, had promised that Nana Helen would always have a place to live. And they want to keep with their mother's wishes.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
She'd always said that. As long as I got the ability to have money and have property, Mom will always have a place to be. Independent.
Yeah.
Right? So the sisters do want to try to keep that in place. But on the other hand, Cindy's a crazy paranoid that swears that Nana Helen is always spying on her and trying to lure away her boyfriend.
Oh, God. I know.
70-year-old titties just... Hey, fella. No. Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody. If anything, Nana Helen wants a nice 70-year-old man.
Yeah.
If she wants anyone.
Yeah. I think she just wants to hang out.
She just wants to hang out and do whatever with her
Watch her stories.
and hang out with her old lady crew.
Exactly. See your great-grandchildren every now and then.
But if she did want more,
Yeah.
I guarantee you it's another 70. Ooh, my right hip is bad. Your left hip is bad. Simpatico.
Yeah, match.
Like, that's what Nana Helen wants. If she's any romantic desire left in her.
Yeah.
That's what she wants. But living across the hall from her murderous granddaughter that probably killed her baby wasn't exactly ideal for the mental health of a woman approaching her 80s.
That's true. That would have to be terrifying.
Yeah, that. Cindy's lies about Nana Helen putting her titties on the glass and trying to seduce men notwithstanding.
Yeah.
I think the whole murdering my child thing
I know, right?
is a lot more fucked up
Yeah.
for Miss Helen than the other shit. So they decided that they were going to try to split the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Betty asked Cindy, give me a 90-day delay in the settlement.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 90 days to figure out what to do with Nana Helen. Because Betty doesn't want to make Nana stay there.
Yeah.
Like, Nana wants to be there,
Yeah.
but only because her daughter promised her,
Yeah.
not because she really wants it.
Yeah.
You know? It's complicated.
Yeah.
You know, the whole murderer of my child living across the hall.
Even though I'm used to this place and I like it, but yeah.
My granddaughter's probably a murderer, and it's like very
Definitely.
weird now.
Yeah.
She's accusing me of spying constantly.
Yeah. And we know no good comes of like Cindy laying the groundwork of abuse stories.
No. But Cindy said no deal.
Of course.
Because why? I think 90 days to figure out what to do with Nana Helen is generous.
Yeah.
Because nobody's taking anything from Cindy.
Yeah.
I just need time to find Nana Helen another apartment, maybe a
Move her
couple
stuff. Yeah.
move her stuff, maybe a month or two to get my house ready for Nana Helen, or one of the other sisters may have been willing to take her.
Yeah.
There were a lot of options that they have because they got a couple of dollars and they have their own homes. There were other options to explore.
Yeah.
And 90 days to do that, I think, is fair.
Yeah, it is.
Cindy said no. Because Cindy says no.
Yeah. Just because she could.
Computer says no.
All right.
While Betty is dealing with the mess that is Cindy, her father-in-law passed away.
Aw.
And while Betty and her husband Richard were going through Richard's father's papers, Betty and Richard found that his father had made some inquiries into the murder of the Campbells.
No way.
Via a district attorney and a private eye that he was friendly with.
Nice. That is a good, very good father-in-law. What a good dude.
Yeah. The report that he had been given said that Cindy was most likely guilty, but there wasn't enough evidence to arrest her.
Yeah.
And that is also when Betty found out that her parents' murders were now considered a cold case. We're about a year and a half out.
Yeah.
So.
That can't be a good feeling.
And nobody's actively working on it.
Yeah.
So Betty and Richard, they'd been toying with the idea of a private investigator for months. It just wasn't in the budget. They have 2 young children.
Yeah.
They work. You know, they've got good jobs and stuff. They work. Sure, they got a couple of nickels in inheritance, but these are upper middle class working people.
Yeah.
They got a good launch in life, and that's what makes them upper middle class.
Yeah.
But let's be real. They can't miss more than 2 or 4 paychecks.
Yeah.
Before shit gets real for them. So trying to afford a PI is a bit much. But finding that report in the father-in-law's papers was the last straw for Richard. He told Betty, look, we have to hire a PI. He didn't care how many credit cards they have to max out. They maxed out plenty.
Yeah.
Whatever they had to do, if he had to pick up a second job, they got to pick up a second job. Whatever they got to do, they're hiring a private investigator to look into the murder of her parents. And he told her, if we don't do it now, we are going to go to our graves wondering why we didn't do it and how we could have helped solve this, and we didn't.
Yeah.
And so Betty called the cops that had been working on her parents' case, even though it was cold.
Yeah.
She still has their phone numbers. And she talked to them about getting a private investigator. And the cops gave her and Richard their blessing. Because, let's be real, there's some things that cops can't do. They can't be everywhere all the time.
That's true.
And PIs get a little more wiggle room. So after getting the blessing from the cops, Betty and Richard reached out to a private eye agency, the same agency that her father-in-law had reached out to via his DA friend.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so nervous. God bless. They wanted to do it, for sure.
Yeah.
They're all in. But they don't know where Cindy is and who she may have talked to or what she may be up to.
Yeah.
They were so nervous about hiring the private investigators that those first 3 meetings, they had on payphone. They wouldn't even call the investigators from their house.
Wow.
They were so worried
That level of paranoia, I
about
respect.
Cindy being up to something.
Yeah.
But they hired him. Private eyes, they're watching you. They see your every move. At least in this part.
Yay, thank God. Someone's gonna watch this crazy bitch.
Right? Mm-hmm. So Betty and her husband have hired an investigation agency. And a woman named Denise was the first private investigator put on Cindy's trail.
Okay.
When Denise first interviewed Betty and Richard, and of course the sisters, the case became personal for Denise. Mm-hmm. Yes, all of the girls are working, and they've gotten a few dollars from their parents' estate, but paying for this agency, plus they have to care for their nephews, plus figuring out something from Nana Helen, plus with the exception of Jamie, they all are growing their own families.
Yeah.
Jamie's still in college, but the 2 oldest, Michelle and Betty, Betty's little girl is 2.
Yeah.
And Michelle may have 2 under 5. Mm-hmm. They got a lot going on.
Yes.
And it is not lost on Denise that, inheritance notwithstanding, hiring her and this agency is putting a serious strain on Betty and Richard's budget. Mm-hmm. So... And that's going to be a theme through all of this, even when it starts to grow a little cold, like that airplane flying over my head.
Pass.
Yep, cold like an airplane. But regardless of their inheritance, their jobs, whatever, it is not lost on anybody in this investigation agency that they're taking money from working people.
Yeah.
And it's going to take another year and some change for the agency to help resolve this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's going to come a point where they're not getting any new information and they feel guilty about taking money from Betty and Richard because that money could go to their children's college.
Yeah.
A car payment, something else, anything but this. But yeah, it was personal for Denise in the beginning, but over time, it becomes personal for everyone in this agency. Which, you know what? Good on them.
Right? Yeah. Be passionate about your work. Get results.
At first, the case seemed hopeless. Mm-hmm. Cindy has no credit cards, no state ID. Mm-hmm. I mean, she had a state ID, but it's not like she updated her information with where she could be living.
She's basically as off-grid as you can be, like, in the suburbs.
Yeah. And without being actually homeless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's the only reason she's not homeless is purely happenstance.
Actually, no, the homeless have more paperwork than she does because they get arrested for things.
That's true. Yeah, she's... Oh, she should have been hauled into juvie so many times for domestic violence. Man.
But James and Virginia love that little girl.
Also, I think they would have been, like, the police would have laughed in their faces.
Yeah, probably.
She's a girl. Get your girl under control.
Also, you got money.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't you send her to a ranch?
Yeah, send her to the ranch.
A farm? something. I mean,
Boarding school.
this
anywhere.
is the middle 80s. Don't let Dr. Phil fool you. We were sending kids to the ranch back then,
It's
too.
true.
We've been sending kids to the ranch since the 60s.
Absolutely.
I know Dr. Phil and company will make it sound like it's brand new.
Oh, now they're
but-
disavowing the ranch.
Oh, well, now, but because they don't want
Yeah.
anybody, they don't want these millennials to know what we know,
Exactly.
which is we've been sending people to the ranch. We've been sending people to the ranch for more years than the Dr. Phils of the world would like anybody to know.
Mm-hmm.
So Cindy is still in touch with the rest of the family, but when asked for a phone number or an address, she would just hang up. After about 3 weeks of searching, Denise got a lead that a woman named Cindy Ray had just paid a utility bill at an apartment with a Middle Eastern man. Cindy wasn't there. Her and her dude, they had been evicted over not paying rent.
Surprise.
But over the next few weeks, it seemed that Denise was always 2 steps behind Cindy. So she'd find her, and when she showed up, poof.
Yeah.
But she's working on it. But it took her
Yeah.
3 weeks to get there.
Huh.
To
Not
a
bad.
place where she could be 2 steps behind.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess goes to show how difficult Cindy was to trace.
Yeah.
These are people that track deadbeats and cheaters for a living.
Yeah.
And it took them a month to figure her out.
Yeah. It sounds like she had a wide web of people she like mooched off of and just predated on.
I honestly don't know. Because we don't know the who, the what's, the where's, and the whys of what she was doing. I mean, we know a little bit, like she married this one Middle Eastern guy.
Mm-hmm.
But that marriage was basically annulled.
Mm-hmm.
We know she rented a few apartments here and there, mostly because people remember the smell.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Denise is 2 steps behind, but every time she goes to somebody, like, have you seen this woman? Have you seen these people? Like, those stinky bastards.
Yeah.
Like, is all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in an Islamophobic kind of way. Like, literally, Cindy stinks.
Yeah. It's very memorable.
So, Denise finally did get close enough, though. Cindy had put out an ad in the paper, in a local paper.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to sell a color TV. Probably the one that she took from Gwen's house, but whatever.
Oh, God, right? Yeah.
Whatever. We're leaving that over there.
Yeah.
Leaving that over there. And so Denise reached out to Cindy posing as a person who wanted to buy the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that conversation spooked Cindy, and Denise was never able to make contact again. Cindy seems to have like a sixth sense
Yeah.
for people that are after her.
She would have to. I mean, she must have like a lot of street cunning. Like,
Rat
it's
cunning.
yeah.
I refuse to call it street cunning. But you know why? Street cunning is an insult to street people.
That's
To
true.
say that she has the same cunning as your average homeless person
Mm-hmm.
or unfortunate soul that's dealing with the issues of poverty
Mm-hmm.
would be like shitting on those poverty-stricken people.
Oh, fair.
I don't even want to give her street cunning.
Well, the rat cunning.
Rat cunning I'll
yeah.
give her.
Yeah.
Because even
She
rats...
has run away a lot. And she's had to survive on a rat cunning a lot.
Even rats know not to get their tails tangled.
Right?
King rat is when the rats are tangled
Yes.
and their tails get... That's right, Jordan Peterson. You did that wrong. King rat. Anyway.
Yeah.
So she's got just enough rat cunning
Mm-hmm.
to not get her tail tangled into something else. But I don't want to insult poor people
Okay.
by calling it street cunning.
All right.
I'm splitting hairs,
Yeah.
I know. But
But no, you make a good case.
I think so. So since they couldn't get a real good bead on Cindy, Denise and her team turned their attention to David.
Oh, nice. Their best idea yet.
So they posed as real estate agents and set up shop in a vacant house like 3-4 doors down from David. And in less than 48 hours of surveillance, Denise and her team came to the conclusion that David and his friends were all a bunch of well-armed idiots.
Yes.
Don't even have to, spend a lot of time.
I know. That is so beautifully succinct and, like, correct.
Yes.
Well-armed idiots.
They posed as real estate investors to get inside David's house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we're looking to gentrify the neighborhood. Let me look around. And when they're looking around David's house, they found that they did find some bullet casings from hollow points that would match the .45 caliber of the gun that was used in the Campbell slayings.
Nice.
But there were no rifling marks. These are brand new bullets.
Yeah.
So all you can say is they're the same caliber.
Mm-hmm.
But finding finding hollow point bullets in that same caliber is a lot of circumstantial to go.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
Or you had something to do with it if you didn't do it yourself. By Christmas 1984, David is a fucking wreck.
Yeah.
Who would have known that killing the fuck out of two people would weigh heavy on one's
I
conscience?
know. It's just one scrap of humanity, I'm telling you.
I don't think anybody's prepared
Nah.
for the emotional and internal trauma.
Yeah. No, I mean, given out, like, how many people freaking confess and come forward, I mean, not everybody, but, like, it's bad enough that being free with that knowledge is worse to some people than just confessing and dealing with it.
At this point, David's house is so run down that not even his burnout friends wanted to live there.
Whoa.
The roof is so bad you can see daylight.
Yeah, that's bad. Oh, the whole place must smell like mold constantly.
And piss.
Yeah.
And shit. Because he doesn't have a proper toilet. Remember, you gotta reach your hand into the tank.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
To flush. And he has rats and roaches.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if it's open to the world like that.
I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It is, and I'm not being hyperbolic, 2 phone calls from being condemned.
Yeah.
All it takes is enough neighborhood frustration.
What a petty little thing. You're so petulant that your overbearing mother did this to you. You're just gonna, like, turn this thing into, like, you're just gonna blow your entire inheritance.
Yeah.
By letting this fall into a wreck, you fucking idiot.
Oh, the utilities have been turned off and the place is freezing cold at night.
Yeah.
Texas is a variant of a desert. It's cold at night.
Yeah.
And that's even before you get to the road. He had possums, bitch! Possums!
Yeah, that's awful.
I don't know how run down your place has to be for possums to consider cohabitating with humans, but it's a level of dereliction I've never dealt with.
I know, right? It's unfathomable.
I've dealt with some rough houses that had mice, rats, roaches, silverfish.
Yeah.
I ain't never been to a place so fucked up that possums were like, I could roommate with you.
Yeah, right?
Like, bro. No shade on possums. I'm just saying, if they're considering being your roommate,
yeah,
it's rough.
Yes.
And they're only there for the flea and tick population.
True.
But David didn't care. By this time, he was so entrenched in his weird Nazi ideas that if you didn't live up to his understanding of things or you weren't in lockstep with his ideology, you were a scum rat.
Yeah.
Scum rat. And you either had to fight him on the street or he had no real use for you. But he's not a racist.
Never.
Oh, he'll tell you that again and again, all day long.
Yeah.
He is not a racist, but.
Right.
But. Real big emphasis on the but.
Yeah. He likes big butts, and he cannot lie.
Right, but not in the fun way.
No.
I feel like he likes more of a bored butt.
Yeah, you know he does. He wants a Swedish flat bottom.
Flat bottom girls, you make
the
the
rockin'
rockin'
world
world go round. Oh, we'll talk about it later. Anyway.
Aww.
And if he didn't like, let's say David goes to a show and he doesn't like the band because he's still at that age where they're going to like a lot of backyard kickbacks A lot of backyard rockabilly shows, that type of thing.
Yes, yes.
Oh, the late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Wait, wasn't this 84?
This was the 80s, but
Yeah.
that whole backyard band scene kept going into like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
It may still be a thing. I'm just so far removed from it
Yeah.
now. But I do remember it. The backyard. Oh, this band's playing some random person's backyard. And like 20-somethings just
Yeah.
descending
Nice.
on some random house to BYOB, drink beer, and see some garbage metal band play. Like 3 o'clock in the morning was
Fun.
a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. Glad I lived in a time where I could do it.
Yeah.
I'm also glad that I was in California, not Texas. It's the 90s, not the 80s. And I didn't have to share space with David West.
Ugh. Oh, God. That guy must, like, have an aura of weird.
But yeah, if you weren't lockstep in what he believed, he either wanted to fight you on the street, or he would be like, let's take him out and shoot him.
Ugh.
He's got no middle ground.
Yeah.
But remember, everybody else is uptight.
Yeah.
Everybody else is rigid in ideas.
Yeah.
It's the religiousists.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Not me.
Never him.
Yeah.
Even though he's as entrenched as his ideas as
Ugh.
any religiousist that he would point to.
Yeah, this is a man who cannot regard himself.
I don't want to skip ahead too far. We'll talk about him and his ain't shit daddy later.
Ooh, goody.
Even great works by like the likes of Picasso or insert any of the greats here were shit if they didn't line up with David's philosophy and view of the world.
God, that's insufferable.
Like, there's a lot of things that I'm sure me and Picasso would disagree with.
Oh, absolutely. The humanity of women, for one.
Right.
Yeah. But he's still a great
But
artist.
Game recognized
Exactly.
game, right?
Yeah.
By this time, David had given up ironwork because he was going to die.
Yeah.
He never got used to being that high up.
Yeah.
He got better. But there is a certain kind of like used to it
Yeah.
that you need to develop quickly or just quit.
Yeah.
And he never got there. So
Well, good for him.
he took a job as a delivery truck driver. Yay. He's delivering bread to your favorite grocery store or whatever. He still walked his dogs and hung out at the same local bars as college kids. He's approaching 28.
Yeah.
And he also hung out with like some urban animals. His friend Wiki, Urban Animals, was a skateboard art collective.
Okay.
They are still a thing. You can actually still find some urban animals
Yeah.
out there in Texas. They're more like more of a lefty art collective now.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But
I mean, art.
right, but back then they were considered a menace.
Uh-huh.
In 80s Houston.
Skaters.
Yeah, in 80s Houston, skaters were...
Violent hippies. Yeah.
Yes. He was also still driving that ridiculous Trans Am that he could barely afford, but here we are. Like, considering how long it took that car to get repossessed, oh, it will get repoed.
Yay.
It's that the only bill he's willing to pay is for that. He's behind in his mortgage. He is so bad off. The only food he has at a certain point is vegetables from a makeshift garden
Oh my God.
in his backyard.
Yeah.
So whoever lived there before him planted a backyard garden and shit just grew.
Yeah.
That was the only food he had.
Oh my God. I just imagine pulling up carrots from the backyard.
If he didn't like beg money off of his mother,
Yeah.
the only food he had. That's how broke he was. So at a certain point, that Trans Am is the only bill he's willing to pay.
Yeah.
Everything else is just falling to shit, which is like, bro,
I know.
really?
Yeah. If he can't have Cindy in his life, he's going to be the Cindy in his life.
You are on the brink of starvation.
What a fucking idiot.
But hey, I got a Trans Am. Go off, King. Go off. At this point in the investigation, the agency had decided that they needed someone that could really get next to David, like close proximity.
Yeah.
Denise wanted to do it. She is personally invested in this shit.
Yes.
But she couldn't. Cindy and whatever Middle Eastern dude she was hooking up with at any given moment had seen her when she approached them as wanting to buy a TV off of them. So she couldn't realistically be the person that got next to David.
Okay.
Somebody had seen her.
Yeah.
People in the neighborhood had seen her as well. Because she was doing the real estate thing, trying to get in there. So it was decided that 27-year-old Kim Paris would go undercover to get next to David.
All right, Kim.
Now, Kim Paris is a very interesting person. And in a lot of ways, she is the perfect person to go undercover to keep tabs on David Duvall West. Kim was 23 years old and still trying to find herself. Right out of high school, she had joined the Navy, where she was an air traffic controller.
Oh, cool. She's got a lot of nerve.
A very high tolerance for sexual harassment.
Oh, God, right?
At one point, one of her commanding officer asked her if the curtains matched the drapes.
Charming.
And she told that man that there are well over 500 men on this base, and every single last one of them will get an answer to that question before you.
Good for her. Tell him.
Sir. Respectfully. Or disrespectfully as hell.
Take it how you feel.
But I think she can hold her own.
Yes.
She was honorably discharged from the military in 1983. After leaving the military, Kim had done some modeling. David says that she has Swiss Germanic features.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Ugh. I just like,
Good
no.
bone structure, Swiss Germanic.
It's just, it's like this person should be like, dealt with. If you start going on about Swiss and Germanic features, you need to live in a cage. There's no good reason for that unless you're Oma. You look like my Oma. You make me so happy.
No, he means it.
But if you're like those good master jeans.
Which is weird because he comes from French Huguenots.
I don't know.
Military school, boarding school fucked him up. Like, a lot.
Made him German by proxy. Or what he imagines. It's so weird.
A lot of his, like, Nazi, white supremacist adjacent ideas do seem to come from his time in boarding school.
Jesus.
And it was the military.
That's where I
boarding
would
school.
expect you to find Nazis.
Right, but it does seem to, even though he was bullied there too,
Yeah.
but it does seem to come from his time.
Yeah.
There.
They found something to believe in.
But Kim, we'll talk about all that shit later. Kim had also done some modeling, worked as an extra on a few local TV shows.
Nice.
She'd been a waitress, a pool hustler,
Nice.
and a stripper.
Wow. This is a well-rounded young woman.
And while she was in between jobs, after doing all of this, she found herself between jobs. And she had loosely dated a guy that was a PI.
That makes sense.
They're still actually friends.
Cool.
That's why I say loosely dated.
Yeah.
And he specialized in maritime investigations.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the guy that goes to prove that longshoremen don't really have a busted back.
Yes.
Maritime investigations.
Yeah.
So he's a private investigator, but he specializes in the longshoremen and the like.
Yeah.
While her ex was surveilling cheaters and scammers, he asked her, he was like, hey, I need your help. Help me out on a case. And she did. Kim would, like, get her hair all teased up because it's the 80s.
Of course.
Put on, like, a little bustier and a short mini skirt and her FMPs.
Yeah.
Her fuck me pumps.
Of course. Of course.
And she would...
Dressed for battle.
And she would knock on the Target's door. I'm so sorry. I have a flat tire. I don't know what to do. I borrow your phone. And then, of course, the guy would be like, oh, yeah, here's the phone, or I don't know, or more likely than not, I'll help you change that tire, little lady. And while she's getting this guy to come outside and change her fucking tire, her partner is across the street taking pictures of this guy doing shit that somebody with a busted really back should not be able to do. And it was through that, like, helping out her exes that she got the job with the PI agency. Fun.
Yeah.
Actually, Kim is cool as fuck.
Yeah, Kim is.
I'd hang out with
rad.
Kim is rad. But she is, like, just young enough. You need a 23, 25-year-old to get next to David.
Yeah.
A 35, 40-year-old woman
No.
is not going to get
He
next.
He can't mentor her. He can't rescue her.
And that's what he's looking for.
She's a mommy.
Right. Like, you would have to be the most fall-apart 40-year-old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So Kim is working for the PI agency, but her assignments are pretty few and far between. Her agency doesn't have a lot of faith in her. Both because of her age, she's only 23 at this point.
Yeah.
Also, she's a little bit flaky.
Okay, yeah.
She's not a flake, but she is flaky. She's bad at time management. She is 30 minutes to an hour behind on everything.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
She's the kind of person that, like, if you weren't my best friend, I'd kill you. Being an hour late to everything is unacceptable.
Yeah, yeah.
But she's that kind. But because she does have those tendencies to always be late, yada, 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 people look at her as a flake.
Yeah, yeah. That's the risk you run when you're constantly late.
Yeah, but she's not flaky. She's the unflakiest flake I've ever run into.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's got some bad habits.
Yeah.
But I don't
She can't be on time, but she does the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At first, Denise and the rest of the agency did not want to put Kim on David. She's a flake, she can't be trusted, yada, 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 yada. And they felt that using an attractive woman to surveil David would be compromising ethics-wise.
Yeah, why?
Oh, are you trying to honeypot him?
Oh.
Is this entrapment? Yada, yada. That kind of thing.
Okay.
But in the end, it was decided that Kim is the right person to keep tabs on David. All of the guys in this agency are too old.
Yeah.
They don't got anybody that can pretend to be an urban animal.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Right? They don't got anybody that could pretend to be a barfly or any of the other things that fall under his very limited interest of drinking, smoking pot, and street fights.
Yeah.
They don't have any male agents that are young enough to jump in on that thing. So the best you can do is give him a hot girl.
Yeah, true.
And hope that his dick and his brain are stupid.
And I think they are.
Oh, they're both very, very stupid.
Deeply stupid. His feet are stupid. His hands are stupid.
Everything is deeply stupid. Part of Kim's brief on the assignment included David's tastes.
So to speak.
Mm-hmm. So after the briefing, Kim went shopping to turn herself into the hottest fucking punk rock burnout anybody could ever hope to meet.
I bet she did a great job.
Fantastic. So, like, she did the pink and the purple punk rock hair, all big, but really...
We are the misfits. Yeah.
We are young, heartache to heartache, we stand. It's that.
Yay.
Love is a battlefield. Mm-hmm. So the hair is punked and spiked and colored with Kool-Aid, as was the times before Manic Panic.
That's true.
But she has on expensive leather boots that she ties bandanas around, which was
that was
all the style. So she's doing this wonderful mix of like dirty punk rock hipster meets a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Which would be enticing to somebody like David.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Kim's first day of surveillance was on Monday, December 17th, 1984. Kim sat in her car for a while before she got out in all of her gutter punk glam rock glory.
Yeah.
I just want her to like shimmy shake the whole bump, 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 bump. You know, when I was a kid, that's how I thought that adults settled disputes.
If only. That would be great.
I remember like watching that Pat Benatar video thinking like, I can't wait to be an adult when I can settle all of my disputes with interpretive dance.
Right. This is great conflict resolution right here.
Imagine my disappointment
1, 2, 3, 4.
When I became an adult and none of my conflicts have ever been solved with interpretive dance.
Yeah, outside of bed.
I mean, that's different. But I've never been able to shimmy my way out of I think we should use a different content strategy. Like, I've never been able to do that.
Have you ever actually tried?
It wouldn't work. I would just look like a goddamn psycho.
I think there's some guys that would work on.
Outside of David West, I can fucking read a room. And I know that if I walk into the room and be like, we are young, let's talk about content strategy, it'd be like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
It's not gonna work. No. So she gets out of the car, she's like glammed out. Punk rock glam, the sexiest burnout you've ever fucking seen, right? And she marched right up to David's rickety old stairs. And she decided that she was going to use the name Teresa Neal.
Teresa Neal.
Today's the day I give you some Agatha Christie, bitch!
That's right!
Teresa Neal was Agatha Christie's pseudonym when she would disappear for weeks and weeks on end. And she would check into like...
with or without explanation.
Yeah, and she would check into a hotel somewhere or a spa as Teresa Neal.
That is her true alter identity.
Yes.
When she was Teresa Neal, she was her full Agatha. Actually, if my name was Agatha, I would want to be anything else too.
Right? But at the same time, she's also Agatha Christie. So if you're going to be an Agatha, that's the one you should be.
Yes.
She's the only Agatha that shouldn't be embarrassed.
Exactly.
Weirded out by her name.
Can't think of another one.
It's just her.
And her alone. But this could never be an Agatha Christie novel. I don't think. Maybe H.P. Lovecraft could imagine Cindy. I imagine Stephen King could imagine Cindy. I don't think Agatha Christie could imagine Cindy.
Lovecraft can't. He doesn't have that kind of respect for women. That violent misogynist.
Yeah, he could imagine David, though.
Yes. David is his target audience.
Yes.
But other than that, no. He can't figure out anything
But
else.
I do love that Kim is a literate woman.
Very. Are you kidding? A woman with that background at 23?
I know. And reading Agatha Christie novels in the back of the strip club. Love it.
Enough to know her fucking pseudonym.
No.
She was deep diving her Agatha Christie. So she knocks on David's door. And she decides, okay, she's going to freestyle.
Yeah.
So she literally pulls Teresa Neal out of her ass because she's been reading Agatha Christie since she was a child. I'm assuming. Yeah. Because where else?
I know, right?
You've got to be an Agatha...
It's second nature.
You've got to be an Agatha Christie nerd to pull that one out of your ass, right?
Yes.
It's like me going, I'm Kaiser Sose. You've got to be a very specific type of nerd for that name. So she knocks on the door. She's like, all right, Teresa Neal's going to be my name. But after that, she was just going to freestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So, because she didn't want to sound too rehearsed.
Yeah.
So that first night, she tried to make contact with David. He wasn't home. But she tried every hour on the hour.
Wow.
Until 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
She would call from a payphone, knock on his door just to see.
Yeah.
But she finally gave up at 11. On December 19th, 1984, Kim was finally able to make contact with David as Teresa.
Okay.
Now, from here on in, I'm just going to refer to her as Kim. David only knows her as Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
But to keep my own sanity, I had to pick a name.
Yeah. We've decided Kim.
And Kim is it.
All right.
So I'm going to refer to her as Kim, but David only knows her as Teresa.
Okay.
At 6 p.m. that night, Kim was in the middle of a crawfish boil. Also one of the most southern things somebody could be doing.
That's so true.
Randomly. Like, she just went up
Apart from growing a peach. Yeah.
Like, she just went up to some random seafood boil place. Had a crawfish boil place.
Yeah.
With eggs and boiled corn.
Nice.
I have a seafood allergy and I can never enjoy that. But the eggs and the boiled corn always look good.
Right? Yeah.
Actually, there have been a few times where like somebody's got a crawfish boil. I'm like, will you rinse off a piece of corn so I can have it?
Yeah. Please.
I've had somebody rinse off some lukewarm corn for me.
That was very kind.
Because what else can she eat here?
I know.
Just the corn and the eggs. That's all I can have. So she's in the middle of her crawfish boil, and she got a call from another PI saying, on looking at David's house, like, hey, I got your guy.
Yeah.
He just walked up to his house.
Nice.
She put her food away reluctantly.
Yeah.
She was so mad that she had to throw away this crawfish boil.
Yeah. Well.
And if you know anything about a crawfish boil or a seafood boil in general, it is not the kind of thing you can take to go. You were either eating it right here, or you're not eating it at all.
Yeah, basically.
So she had to throw away a good crawfish boil. She was mad.
Yeah.
She was big mad.
Good. Take that energy into this.
I don't blame her.
Get him for this. It's his fault.
So she gets rid of her food, and she goes over to David's house, still in all of her punk rock glory. And she pushes her way into David's house using her best drunk girl performance.
Nice.
She knocks on the door. One of David's Flophouse friends opens the door. Charlie? Charlie? Yeah, Charlie. I'm supposed to meet Charlie. Where's Charlie? What?
Yeah. Just out of her gourd.
David's friend said there was no Charlie there. And Kim got fake upset. I'm supposed to meet Charlie to pick up some stuff.
Yeah.
So we're drunk and drugged out.
Sweet bird of youth. Yeah.
Stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Then she asked if she could use the phone. David's Flophouse friend let her in. She used the phone. She basically called herself.
Yeah.
Knowing damn good and well nobody was going to answer.
Nice. It's a good plan.
And then was like, so-and-so needs to call me back. Where's Charlie? And so then, to make sure David's friend didn't get suspicious, she was like, you want a joint? Here.
Yeah.
So she gives the dude a joint. Completely disarmed.
Yeah.
Anything else that he may have thought about a random junk woman coming up to the house. And
forgiven completely.
yeah, because she gave him a joint. When he passed the joint to her, she said, no, I gotta try it. Yeah. Because apparently she's already drunk, so she can't be stoned too. And then, of course, she had introduced herself to David's friend as Teresa Neal and said that she lived with her sister in North Houston along with her sister's abusive boyfriend.
Ah. We are baiting the hook.
So after a few minutes of chatting, David's friend was like, look, David ain't coming back. I don't know who this Charlie person is. There's no Charlie here. Mm-hmm. Whoever that you called hasn't called back yet. I'm going to go meet my homeboy David at this other bar. Mm-hmm. You're welcome to come with.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows who this Charlie person is, but...
Yeah. Charlie, I'll find you.
And she was like, yeah. And when she got to the bar and got her first look at David in the flesh, she was not impressed.
Yeah. How could she be? How could any human being?
She's like...
Not even his father could look at him and be impressed.
No, and we'll talk about that later.
I can't wait. His daddy issues, his daddy wounds are so deep and funny.
All of his parental wounds are deep and funny.
Yes.
So, this buddy takes Kim to the bar, and after the introductions are made, David pulled his friend to the side to find out, dude, where did this broad come from?
Yeah.
She's hot, and you're stupid and ugly because you hang out with me.
Yeah.
So how did you get this hot broad?
Yeah. What's going on?
And then the friend explained that Kim had just showed up on their doorstep looking for some cat named Charlie, so she's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Oh, the 80s.
I know, right?
The 80s and 90s.
It's interesting, yeah.
Only then could you get a random drunk stranger knocking on your door, and if they were age appropriate for you to hang out with,
yeah,
you'd be like, I'm going to the bar, want to go?
Yeah.
I have way too many stories that just revolve around me being 19, other people being 19, and fucking off into the night.
Yes. Good times.
How are we not all dead?
I don't know. Pure statistics.
So, after getting the story of how Teresa came to be, David just let out a wolf whistle and thanked the gods.
Oh, God.
Who had brought this striking woman to his door. Good German.
Oh, my God. Odin, you have brought me
Swedish Germanic
a matron worthy of me. Yes.
Yes. At the bar, David and his buddy are both trying to hit on Kim, which is hilarious. But it was clear that David was the winner. Mm. He's totally into Kim and her gutter punk look, and she's got these bright blue eyes. Of course, the Swiss Germanic bone structure.
God. Creep.
And she is tall. She's like 5'8" to his like 6'1",
nice.
6'2", and she's like broadly built. She's got broad shoulders. Yeah, broad shoulders. So she's slim thick. Mm-hmm. She's slim thick.
Yeah.
And he is into it.
Brunhilde, I found you.
Oh, Brunhilde, she's a cake. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That means nothing. I just know it from South Park. Brunhilde, she's a cake. Yes, yes, yes. Scheißes, shitzes, whatever is happening, he's into it.
Yeah. That goes hand in hand.
The only thing that David didn't like about Kim was that she chain smoked.
It's bad for you. And he doesn't like the smell.
You killed 2 whole people.
I know,
you are not in any position to give anybody a moral high ground on anything.
I know, right?
During their talk, Kim told David that she had been in the Navy. And David got a boner.
Yeah.
I was in the Marines. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. New soulmate.
Oh, and she's giving Butch Queen realness vibes.
Yeah.
And she could hit the head. Southwest knot.
Yeah.
Insert ridiculous military jargon here.
He is feeling so in his element.
And she's loving it.
Yeah.
Because, so all the women that he knew in the military were lesbians at best.
Yeah. Or at least anytime he asked.
Yeah, if he walked in the room, they were all lesbians, whether they were actual lesbians or not.
I know if a man like him walks up to me, I am a lesbian, sir. I am their queen. I am the pope. I'm the popess of lesbians. I am their queen.
Let's jam lesbianics. Like, yeah. Like
instant conversion, I'm telling you. For a creature like that. Ugh.
So, because she was more feminine
Yeah.
than all the lesbianic women that he had known in the military, whether they were real lesbians or not remains to be seen. But
Yeah.
like you said, they were when he walked into the room. And while they were talking, hitting the head,
Yeah.
throwing military jargon around like morons,
Yes.
David decided that, ooh, Kim has an Anglo-German face.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
How many chapters was given over to his, like,
3.
fascinating? Really?
3.
Ugh.
3.
That's people like that. Like, I immediately am suspicious of.
Because there's nothing else interesting about David West if you don't go into all his weird shit.
God.
Like, true story.
Yeah.
If you don't go into all this, like, weird alt-right Nazi shit that he's into, he is not interesting.
Jesus.
And everybody in his life says so. So if you don't even have to be, like, Nazi adjacent. If you're not one that's quasi-military trained with him,
Yeah.
he's not interesting.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So he thought her Anglo-German frame made her slim, thick, without being too bulky or masculine.
Yeah.
Because the women that he knew from the military
Yeah.
with similar features and attitudes were too bulky and too masculine.
Poor baby, to not be catered to in his eyeballs constantly.
Kim was bright, funny, bold, and had an understanding of war and military strategy.
God.
He is creaming his pants.
Yeah. I can see that.
Holy, what do they call it? Nighttime emissions? Whatever the
Yes.
fuck you call that shit.
Yeah.
Where you just...
A fully formed Pygmalion has been brought to me. She's perfect.
Whatever you call it when dudes spontaneously jizz their pants.
Premature ejaculation.
But without a partner.
Yeah, I think that's just called embarrassing yourself.
Whatever that's called.
Yeah.
I think colloquially we know it all as wet dreams, but I don't think you need to be asleep for it to happen.
Wet daydream.
But whatever the fuck that's called in science,
Yeah, he
that's
did.
what's happening.
Yes.
Gonna hit the head.
Yeah.
That's what's going down right now. David thought that Kim was the best thing that he had run into since he had whipped Cindy into shape.
Yeah. I believe it.
He loves that Kim can curse and talk about guy stuff while retaining her femininity.
Yeah. She's perfect. She's a goddess. She's a model. She's Linda Evangelista. She's perfect.
Oh, you're Linda Evangelista. And before long, David's trying to impress Kim with his knowledge of Roman history.
Oh, dear God. I bet it's all bullshit, too.
He has got a 9th grade understand. All of the shit that he is into.
Mm-hmm.
Roman history, the classics, warfare, yada, yada, yada. He has got a 9th grade understanding of, at best, and I feel like I'm being way too generous.
I think so, too, because I assume his expertise comes from TV and movies. Like, when he's talking about the Roman Empire, he's talking about Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The book and the movie. I'll give him that. At least.
And that's a 9th grade understanding of any of this
Yeah.
shit. But he goes around cocking his hand above your head, looking at you with his dichromatic eyes pulsating,
Right.
his two-tone eyes at you, trying to make you come in your pants like he used to do with Cindy.
Caesar was one of the great Caesars.
I swear, one of the worst things Cindy ever did was make this poor fool think that he could look at her and she would come.
Yeah.
Because you know he's going around doing that to all women now.
Oh, God. Right? Yeah. Like, that is some master manipulation on her part. She's like, what a number she did on this guy.
It didn't work on Cindy either. She was just rolling with whatever he was putting down.
Like, what do I have to do to make you do whatever I say?
But you know, after Cindy, he was doing his James Dean to other women and then pulsating his dichrome eyes at them. and expecting them to just
Delulu
Girl.
land.
Also, he let Kim know that he liked to work out. He didn't use hard drugs.
Yeah.
And is a devotee of the Stray Cats and Elvis. I hate having things in common with them
Oh my
because
god.
I think the Stray Cats and Brian Setzer are a more than solid modern day rockabilly band.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because they were from the 80s and most rockabilly's from the 50s. They are more, I mean, I've only been twice, but if there's an opportunity and it's not cost prohibitive for me to see Brian Setzer at the Bowl and do like a swing
Yeah.
dance night,
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Nice.
So I hate having something in common.
So, but we also breathe oxygen, you know. You take the good, you take the bad.
And there you have the facts of life.
The
Facts of life. By the time the night was over, David was so smitten that he tried for a kiss. Kim turned David down, and he respected her more for it. Because if she would have let him kiss her, she would have been a slut.
Yeah. How dare she?
The line between virtuous and slut is incredibly thin
It
here.
is. And it's not just David being crazy.
No, but it's incredibly thin. I want to kiss you, but if you kiss me, you're a whore.
I will hate you. Yeah.
I want to fuck you, but if you fuck me, you are a whore.
Yeah, I know, right?
Before Kim left, David asked if he could see her again. Kim agreed. And she was like, I'll call you.
Yeah.
She
Wise.
never gives him his phone number.
Mm-hmm.
She never gives him a phone number.
Good. Smart girl.
They're going to date for almost a year.
Yeah. And he never has her number?
Or address.
Nice.
Or any way for to find her. Part of it is by design.
Yeah.
Part of it is for her own safety. But
Oh,
he
yeah.
never has a way to get in touch with her.
Nice.
The next night, Kim showed up at David's house with another agent that she introduced as her friend Alan.
Mm-hmm.
David was annoyed that Kim had brought a friend with her. What do you think? I'm some sort of rapist?
Mm-hmm.
Can't be trusted alone with me without a friend.
Yeah.
He's offended.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a deviant. He has deviant desires, though.
Yeah.
But Kim explained that Alan is the younger brother of her abusive brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
So he is on the short list of people that can escort her to meet a new person.
Mm-hmm.
And her brother-in-law, Buddy, runs their home with an iron fist.
Yeah.
And he was worried about, because he's abusive to her sister, which is Buddy. Buddy's not real.
Yeah.
So Buddy is abusive. He's abusing her sister. And he's also abusive to Kim via the sister because he runs this entire household with some sort of iron fist.
Yeah.
And so Kim can't freely date or come and go without Buddy's permission. And so she uses that as reasons of why David can't call the house.
Yeah.
Why she can't give out the number.
Nice. Very convenient.
Right. Once the pleasantries were out of the way, Kim and David went bar hopping, where David told Kim about his dreams of turning his house into a straight bar for the community.
Oh my god.
Remember, his community where he grew up is slowly turning into WeHo.
Yeah. And he does not like that.
No. We should have a straight bar.
Yeah, just for straights.
For straights.
Straight drinks. Straight people. Straight talk. Man.
It's like, no, bars are just bars. You can get a
I
whiskey
know, right?
sour at any of these places.
Yeah. You're just weird, David.
The only difference between a straight bar and a gay bar is who may or may not want to fuck you.
Exactly.
Anyway. But before David could tell Kim about the project, she guessed that his funding would have come from a rich girlfriend.
Oh.
She was straight up like, oh, you want to turn your house into a bar? What rich bitch is funding that?
Right? Where'd the money come from?
You sure as shit ain't got the money for that kind of thing.
Amen. Who is she? What is her name?
What's her name? What's she do? What's her family come from?
Mm-hmm.
David's taken aback that Kim was guess right.
Oh.
Yes, he had a wealthy ex whose parents had died in a car accident.
Ah, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. And that wealthy ex whose parents had died in a car accident was thinking of going in with David to turn his place into a bar. Mm-hmm. Okay, girl. Okay, girl. After their first few dates, Kim walked away thinking that David couldn't hurt a fly, let alone kill two people.
Mm-hmm.
He's too bitch made.
Yeah.
I mean,
Goofy.
yeah, as much as he tries to put on the machismo, he's too bitch made and goofy. She's like, Cindy, yeah, but
she's stone cold, yeah.
like she feels like David knows what happened, but she doesn't think David could have pulled the trigger.
Oh, interesting.
On their third date, David takes Kim out for Thai food and to see a rockabilly band at some backyard party.
Very romantic.
When I was 19, sure.
Yeah.
Maybe 22.
Yeah, but this is a 28-year-old man.
Yeah, I feel like the statute of limitations on bar hopping and backyard underground concerts is not 25.
Yeah, just about.
Because then you should be going to...
Yeah,
real
grown-up stuff. Yeah.
When Kim took a break to go to the bathroom, David was pissed. Because when she came out of the bathroom, he saw her talking to a black guy.
Oh, no. Ugh.
A black.
Gross.
Not only was she talking to a black guy, but this black guy reminded David of the black guy that had beat him up and took his lunch money in junior high.
Oh, God. Good, good. I'm glad your spirit is rumpled.
Yeah. Now, this guy was a friend of Kim's. It was just somebody that she knew.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, girl, hey. And she was like, oh, fuck, I got to deal with this.
Yeah.
So while Kim is talking to her friend, there was nothing untoward happening. Kim does not share David's Nazi bullshit.
But he's boiling.
Right. But she's still with her fake other brother-in-law, Alan. Right? And so that guy is trying to make small talk with David while Kim is talking to this black guy who is her actual friend in life or an actual acquaintance, bare minimum, right? So David just couldn't talk to anybody. He was just like, oh, what the fuck, bro?
Night ruined.
Right? The thought of a woman that David was on a date with running off with some black buck enraged David. Like, if he wasn't such a bitch, he would be, like, murderously angry. When Kim came back to their table, David told the black guy, hey, why don't you hit the bricks?
Oh my God. Bitch.
Now, this guy knows Kim more in her personal life. Doesn't seem... If he knows what she does professionally, he doesn't seem to be in on it. So, the way the scene plays out, he's a personal friend that doesn't know she's on a stakeout. But she's trying to split the difference by being cordial to a personal friend and not making it weird. And so, this guy comes back to their table because he's a friend. Her partner, the other undercover, is just gonna rock with it. David's the only one that has issue. So he tells this guy to hit the bricks. But the black guy is not a bitch.
Not like David.
He's not. Who the fuck are you?
Right?
Telling me not to talk to my friend or who I can or can't talk to. Fuck you, suck my dick.
Right?
It almost went to blows.
Oh, no doubt.
It did. Kim had to step in and diffuse the situation. But David's fear of coming off looks like some sort of racist redneck in front of a woman that he was interested in backed him down.
Good.
But it could have escalated.
Well, actually, I wish that guy had the chance to beat David down.
I wish he was her undercover friend.
Yes.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
He was just somebody that she knew in the world.
Yeah.
I wish he was the other undercover.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how it went. While David is running the streets and trying to score with Kim, Betty is preparing to give Cindy her final payout, $25,000. Mm-hmm. Remember, it was $300,000 plus the apartment building.
Yeah.
But that $300,000 gets cut down to $25,000 because of all of the advances, lawyer fees, and taxes.
Yes.
Betty's biggest fear was that Cindy would get the money and disappear, leaving them with no way to find out how Cindy was involved with their parents' deaths.
Valid.
While Betty and the family were working on the settlement, Nanny Helen's keeping an eye on Cindy. Mm-hmm. Nobody's asking her to do this. But she's in the same boat with the sisters.
Yeah.
And Virginia was her baby.
Yeah.
So she is in that same boat that Cindy did something to my little girl.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't know how.
But she is involved.
Exactly. But Cindy never missed the chance to harass the old woman. Because Cindy knows the settlement is in the works and that she's going to get this apartment building pretty much no matter what.
Yeah.
So she would just tell Nanny Helen, "You're a squatter."
The nerve.
Squat! Squatter! Squatter, you have no right here! Squatter! Yes. And the abuse wasn't limited to Nanny Helen. Once Cindy got into an insult match with a tenant that was so bad that the cops were called.
Wow.
This man on the first floor, was like watering his begonias over his balcony.
Minding his life.
And Cindy just went off and they got into a shouting match that was so bad that the cops were called. In the end, it was decided that they had to get Nana Helen out of that building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's got physical health issues.
Yeah.
She's mourning the loss of her daughter for the last year, living across the hall from the person that probably caused her daughter's death.
Yeah.
Cannot be good for this woman.
No, God, no.
So, Cindy may own the place as part of the settlement, but that doesn't mean Nanny Helen has to put up with that shit.
Yeah.
So Richard, with the help of some day laborers and Michelle, went to the apartment to get Nanny Helen, get her shit, and get her the fuck out of there.
Yay.
Richard and Betty finally decided that to further strain their finances and just make up a spare room for Nanny Helen. It's
the right thing to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Betty didn't go. Betty did not go to go get Nanny's stuff. Mm-hmm. She's mad at Cindy for killing their parents.
Yeah.
Very, very mad.
Yeah.
And she's worried that she won't be able to contain her anger if she has to run into her younger sister. Yes. So she was like, "Richard, you go.
Yeah.
Michelle will meet you at the pad.
Nice.
You go.
Know thyself.
I can."
Yeah. Good for her.
When Richard pulled the moving truck into the driveway, he tapped a bush. Yeah. And a big, fat, bold, nasty, greasy Cindy came out to yell at him about respecting people's property.
Oh, God.
Really, bitch?
I know, right?
By this point, I don't know if Cindy did it or if one of the other tenants did it, but people have put duct tape around her door.
Wow.
To keep the smell of her apartment from seeping into the hall.
Oh my God. Good for them.
I'm not mad, but that's how bad
she
is.
Didn't do it. Yeah.
So by this, Cindy had put on so much weight. She's about 260, 270 by now.
Oh my God.
Richard almost didn't recognize her.
Wow.
Eventually he figured it out, but he was like, "Holy guacamole."
Yeah.
While Richard's getting Nana Helen's things, Cindy sat across the hall and attempted to micromanage the move. Oh, no, you can't take the phone. The actual phone.
Yeah.
She's disconnecting the phone line.
Mm-hmm.
She can take the physical phone and plug it in someplace else.
It's hers.
You can't take the light fixtures. This is her lamp.
Yeah.
She can take this lamp and go to another place. You can't take the refrigerator. Yes, I can.
Yeah, watch me, bitch.
Richard and Nana Helen are just basically ignoring Cindy, but she's doing her level best to make this move difficult.
Yeah.
The move is mostly done, and Nana Helen is crying as she walks out of her apartment for the last time.
Aw, poor Nana Helen.
One, she's crying because it is losing a bit of her independence, right?
Yeah.
She's moving in with one of her granddaughters, which is probably going to be a healthier, safer environment for her. But that's not living independently.
No. Not right now.
She's also crying because this is an acknowledgement that your granddaughter had something to do with your daughter's murder.
Yeah.
And her health shit.
Yeah.
Like, going down 2 flights of stairs is a little bit difficult for her. She's got, like, a bad hip. She's had a couple of strokes. It's a lot. It's a lot. And like I said, since Betty didn't trust her anger, Michelle came along.
Oh, nice.
She's helping. She's helping. Michelle notices that their ailing grandmother is having a hard time navigating these 2 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
I think a combination of her health and the grief, she was just experiencing a lot.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
And so it maybe made her look a little more infirm than what she would if she had more emotional equilibrium. But Michelle is like, I gotta go help Nana Helen.
Yeah.
Cindy gets in her way. You can't go in there. You're trespassing.
Oh,
I'm not gonna let you in there. Michelle's like, bitch, please.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You don't give a shit about grandma.
Yeah.
I do. Cindy grabbed Michelle and threw her against the wall. Next thing you know, these bitches are brawling. It is a full-on brawl in the lobby of this apartment building.
Yeah.
Cindy's got her hands on Michelle's throat. Michelle is trying to pull Cindy's hair out by the root. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's get it. I told you the sisters are not afraid of the smoke. They had just learned to love her from afar.
Yeah.
But they are not afraid of the smoke.
Yeah.
Because the minute Cindy put hands on Michelle, she was like, let's go. It was like not even not fighting was not an option.
Yeah.
The minute Cindy grabbed Michelle and pushed her against the wall, Michelle was like, oh, so that's what we doing?
Yeah.
Let's get it on, bitch.
Let's go.
Let's get it the fuck on. Richard had to break the fight up, but not... So Nanny Helen still had a few things left in the apartment as the fight's breaking out. So these 2 bitches are brawling up and down this hallway.
Yeah.
Right? And Richard is getting like Nanny Helen's last few things like, stop it, you 2, and stepping over them as they're fighting. Finally, when he gets to the last of the things that Nanny Helen wants, that's when he stepped in and physically broke them up. But for like 20 minutes, he was just stepping over them, going around and went, stop it, you 2.
Yeah.
When it was over, Michelle and Cindy were both bleeding.
Nice.
The sisters ain't scared.
Yeah.
At all. In the end, Cindy said that Richard's the only person that's allowed in the building. It's her building. You can't come in.
Yeah.
Stop it.
God.
And in later interviews, Richard would say that, like, Cindy saying that they couldn't go in and stop it, she wasn't angry. It was more like, now I finally got something over you.
Yeah.
I'm in control of something that you're not, type shit.
Yeah. You do what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was what it was. It wasn't actual anger. And that's probably why Michelle was like, fuck it, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Let's go.
Good for her. Betty was right.
When the fight was over, Richard made a mental note that Michelle might have to go get some shots.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean,
Sydney's
best to
filthy.
get you. Yeah.
Sydney,
Tetanus.
Sydney is filthy. The human mouth is dirty.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Yeah.
see somebody. That happened just before Christmas. And fast forward to after the Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And Kim decides that she needs to pay David a visit.
Okay.
Kim had been off for Christmas for like a week or two,
Yeah.
visiting her actual family.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's got to like, and
In her
that's
real
also,
life.
I'll probably repeat this later, but that's also how she keeps David on the hook.
Mm.
He doesn't have a way to contact her.
Yeah.
So he has to wait for her.
Yeah.
So letting him stew for 3 or 4 days or a week is kind of how she keeps him interested.
Good. All right.
So now it's after the Christmas holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So jolly to beat your sister up in the
I mean,
hallway
especially when she deserves it.
of an apartment building while you're trying to save your grandmother from your sister. I told you, the Campbell sisters are not afraid of the
I
smoke.
know. And sometimes what greater love than an ass beating?
Also, this is a sister-on-sister crime. Ain't nobody going to jail for this.
Not me.
Fuck her.
Yeah.
Beat her ass.
Yeah.
That's why Richard stepped over them
Yeah.
until he was like, okay, now I have to do something.
There would not be one witness in her favor.
No.
Like, everyone would be like, no, nothing happened. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, nobody's going to jail. Everybody's going to take their lumps, but that's why Richard broke it up at the end.
Yeah.
So it's now after Christmas, and Kim decides that she needs to pay David a visit. Right before the Christmas holiday, she took off for like a week or two. One, to visit her own family for the holidays. David does not know anything about her actual family.
Yeah.
And I think she took a trip to Acapulco.
Mm-hmm.
Just, she had to go be
Why
away.
not?
She was gone for like almost 2 weeks.
You would always have to detox.
And during that, David is going nuts.
Good.
Because he has no way to get in contact with her.
Yeah.
He is relying on either her calling him or just showing up on his doorstep.
Yeah.
And she knows David's pushing to date her, like, for real, for real.
Yeah.
He's especially pushy about wanting to meet her brother-in-law, Buddy,
Yeah.
because she's made this guy sound so controlling
Yeah.
and so abusive that the only way David's going to be able to properly date Kim is by going to Buddy and asking his permission to court her. And that's what he's prepared to do.
Yeah.
He's ready. When am I going to meet Buddy and your sister?
Yeah.
He's ready for it. Kim's roommate stands in for her sister once,
Yeah.
because there is no sister.
Yeah.
I think Kim has all brothers.
Nice.
But,
But for these purposes.
right, she has no sister. And so her roommate stands in as her sister. But one night when she's out with David, her roommate comes into a bar with another dude. And so Kim has to come up with this story about how, like, her sister and Buddy have these fights and her sister will move out for a week or two.
Yeah.
So Buddy can calm down. And this is the guy that her sister fucks when she's on a break from Buddy.
Nice.
It's a very... He falls for it all.
Yeah. Good. He
Mr.
must have been so excited thinking he was about to meet Buddy.
Oh, are you kidding? Not only Buddy, a manly man who he has to impress and get permission to court this woman, but a family full of tragic sisters that need to be protected.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's ready to white knight all over this shit.
Yeah.
Kidding? So the strategy of the going in and out and leaving David alone for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, then coming back, was part of how Kim kept him on the hook.
Yeah.
He can never get tired of her.
Yeah.
He can never get bored.
Yeah.
He's in a constant state of anticipation.
Aren't we? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and he's always scared that she's dumped him. That this is the day he said the wrong thing, he smelled a little funny, she hates his house,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anytime she disappears for however long, he swears that he's been dumped.
Sort of right.
And it also gave Kim an opportunity to check in and deal with her real fucking life.
Yeah.
She has a life of friends, family, roommates. She knows people
Yeah.
that aren't David. And
delightful, wonderful people.
Yes, and she would like to spend time with them. Not everybody can just be sitting around dealing with David's insanity.
Right.
It was January 4th, 1985. And it took David less than an hour to start bitching about Cindy on their date. So, Kim is back in town. She's gotten back in touch with David. And they are not even an hour into their date.
Yeah.
Before David starts bitching about Cindy. In her report that night, Kim said that according to David, Cindy has a disarming way of being inadequate. That Cindy is weak, disabled, and he often pitied her because she was from a family of monsters.
Yeah.
Kim also reported that the more David drank, the looser he got at the lips. So we're just going to keep him drunk to get what we need.
Excellent.
David said that he had tried to protect Cindy from her father and that their breakup had happened because Cindy never learned to appreciate David and everything that he had done for her.
True.
Girl.
She never appreciated you or what you did for her. Not one bit.
But he also swore that Cindy's parents being killed in a car accident was the best thing that ever happened to the girl. He's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
For different reasons. Basically, nobody should fall for it.
Yeah.
Once she starts breaking out all the incest stories and all of the weird shit, he should be like, okay.
Yeah, you should be highly suspicious.
Right. You know what? But his mama co-signed, so here we go. A few nights later, Kim and David are at another bar. David's idea of the perfect date is just sitting in a bar, drinking, and talking at some poor woman that can barely interrupt him.
I believe it. This does sound like the ideal date for him.
Not as much as he likes that Kim can do the hit the head military jargon, she's still a woman.
Yeah, and she needs to sit still
and be talked
take this.
at.
Yeah, take this on. My wisdom.
David said that he was worried for Cindy and that she was deteriorating. And he wouldn't be shocked if he heard that she had offed herself.
If only.
Wishful thinking,
I
sir.
know. It's like,
wishful
there's
thinking.
No way that creature would do it.
She's a little too resilient for that.
Yeah.
But I get what you're trying to put down.
Yeah.
I get what you're trying to put down. David followed by saying that Cindy was still so codependent on him that he could get damn near anything he wanted out of her.
Oh, sweet summer child.
And then as the drinks keep flowing, because Kim has figured out keeping him buzzed is the way to keep him on the hook. Get information.
Right?
David starts opening up about his childhood.
Oh my god.
You let Kim tell it?
Yeah.
David remembered every slight, every insult, every trauma that he has experienced, up to and including the trauma of being born.
Oh my god. You know who that reminds me of?
Piss guy?
It does, yes. Talking about piss trauma. Birth trauma.
David doesn't have the decency to be a halfway attractive trust fund asshole.
I know, right? He's just weird.
He doesn't have the charm that Piss guy had.
But, yeah, okay, sure, buddy. Birth trauma.
And so she's just like, okay.
Jesus Christ.
David told Kim about the time his mom made him sing at a place called the Corral, which is a very like a restaurant.
Yeah, it sounds like a buffet, like Golden
But
Corral.
a place with like a stage where like people get on.
Oh
and
my god, yeah.
It's like dinner theater. I don't know, but it sounds like a very strange place where you can get dinner, but there's
a talent show.
Right, like an amateur hour thing. And his mother made him get up there and sing in plaid shorts. I don't know what he's more traumatized by, the plaid shorts or being forced to sing. Of course,
equal depravity.
Cecilia's highfalutin standards.
Yeah.
And of course, Duvall's general disinterest.
Yeah.
Fucked the boy up as well.
Yep, that's so true.
David was bullied in junior high by mostly black kids. This is Houston, which I know has a not insignificant black population. But I wonder if David has just decided to blame the dozen or so black kids in his school.
Yeah.
But the black kids may not have been.
I know. Or he was racist to them.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. His racism is what's blaming these black kids. But I bet you if I jumped into the time machine, these black kids weren't necessarily the instigators of the bullying, but they weren't afraid to jump onto it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it right. Bullying is wrong. Yeah. I just question his memory of these things.
Yeah. He is not a reliable narrator.
Of course, being sent to military school, where the rich white kids were just as shitty to him as the poor black kids, so that didn't help. And it was at the military school where his nose got broke.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A kid punched him so hard he broke his nose. Then David whined about being the know-it-all nerd in school that everybody picked on. They picked on me because I was too smart.
I was so special they couldn't stand it.
Oh, girl. This is how special he is. David is, of course, a dyed-in-the-wool atheist. That's how his parents raised him, which is fine.
Yeah.
You're allowed. I have no beef with that. David would then take that information, especially the theory of evolution, and go back to his junior high in Houston, which I think is the 5th notch on the Bible Belt.
Probably.
Like, don't quote me on that. I don't know.
It's there.
I don't know how many notches in.
Yeah.
You would put Texas and Houston most specifically on that belt.
Yeah.
But it's there.
Yeah.
And then tell them that they were descendants of apes because evolution.
Yeah.
And of course, these Bible kids are like, you might be descended from monkeys, but not me.
Yeah.
Lord made me.
Yeah.
You was made by the apes, monkey man. Yeah. And then they punch the shit out of it and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Also, his father wouldn't let him participate in sports.
Oh, really?
The one thing where he could have gotten some social purchase would be participating in sports. But Duvall wouldn't let him because sports were for cretins.
But sir, have you met your son?
Up until this point, Kim is in like with David.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much that she's going to compromise her professionalism.
Yeah.
But she likes him well enough. And she doesn't think that he's the kind of person that could kill.
Okay.
She's in like.
Yeah.
But after an evening of sitting around and listening to his traumas and grievances.
Yeah.
Not so much. He's a little scary now. Because she was like, in later interviews, Kim would say, all of us could sit down with pad and paper and write out a litany of traumas, slights, and abuses from childhood.
Sure. Yeah.
Be it from your immediate family or the kids you went to school with.
Yeah.
We could all put out a laundry list of it.
Yes.
But David's anger for these things that are more than a decade in the rearview mirror was disturbing.
Oh, God. Poor Kim.
Then David started talking about his dad. According to David, his dad lived in the past, but not his own.
Oh, okay.
His dad spent a lot of time reading the classics, so the Roman classics, the Greek classics,
Yeah.
is what I mean by classics. And he also spent a lot of time listening to old 19 teens, 20s
Yeah.
jazz. So he's stuck in the past, but not his past.
Yeah.
Duvall's past is the 40s, 50s, and he is firmly stuck in the 20s and 30s as far as his like musical tastes and the stuff that he reads.
Yeah.
David was frustrated that his father had graduated from West Point and had actually done some kind of cool things in World War II. But he didn't keep any of his scrapbooks. He didn't even have his yearbook from West Point.
Oh, wow.
He didn't have any of his medals.
Yeah. He obviously just wouldn't move on from that.
Which I think is the right and true response to seeing the horrors of war.
Yeah.
This
It
is,
seems to be like the pretty widespread response.
and this is pretty anecdotal on my part, but I have a couple of my uncles and cousins that were in Vietnam. The sane ones never talked about it.
Yeah.
The ones that did were suffering from pretty outright and severe mental illness.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be a whole fuckload of a lot in between. The healthiest people don't say shit.
Yeah. True.
The person that wants to talk about it is the psycho you need to be careful of.
Exactly.
That motherfucker will kill
Like,
you.
do not mess with these people.
Yeah, no. But David's disappointed that his dad is the type of person that doesn't want to talk about the horrors of war.
Yeah.
Or won't engage with him about strategy, guns, and blah, 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 blah. David said that a few times as a teenager before he goes off to military school, he tried to fight his father. Come at me, bro.
Oh, I believe it.
Get me.
Yeah.
Fight me.
Pay attention to me. Care about me.
And Duvall was like, nah.
You're not worth it.
Also, Duvall thinks of himself as an elevated and educated man. Fighting in the backyard,
Yeah.
fisticuffs with your child,
Yeah.
is like the last bastion of the most uneducated
Yeah.
of cretins. And he would never.
Yeah. True.
One, even though he has no real interest in the boy, I think he loves his son enough to be like, no, that ain't right.
Yeah.
That ain't right. But David loses respect for his father because his father won't beat the fucking tar out of him. I say, Duvall, give the boy what he wants.
Yeah, if he's asking so nicely.
I mean, you know what? My uncles and stuff are I don't know if Duvall is better, but my uncles and shit, if any of my cousins were like, fight me, Dad, my uncles would be like, all right. And I don't want to hear no shit when you get fucked up either.
Exactly.
They would give him what he wanted and beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
When their date was over, David went in for a kiss. Because nothing says fuck me like telling you about my daddy
I know.
issues and childhood traumas.
Yeah. Right?
Kim declined the kiss, not only because she's a professional, but because her pussy was as dry as the Sahara.
Exactly. Oh, I don't want to put my mouth on that. Oh.
Oh, David's mad. Why won't you kiss me? You tell me why. You tell me why you won't make out with me. Right now, I demand to know.
God.
You're a healthy, attractive woman. I'm a weird-looking but healthy man.
Yeah.
Tell me why you won't fuck me.
Yeah.
Demand it. Has to be a logical reason why we can't fuck. So since he's demanding a reason, Kim reaches up her asshole right next to the colon.
Yes.
And she tells him that a few months before she had met David, she had been raped by a couple of black guys.
Oh my God. Man.
And that backed him all the way up.
Yeah.
One, because he's a racist little shit. Two, his mother has traumatized him with all of her information about sexual assault, both real and imagined.
Yeah. True.
So, somewhere in between his mother's dysfunction and racism. All you have to say is that I was assaulted by blacks. And he's like, oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bring this all the way back down.
oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I know all about sexual assault. I learned it from my mama. She told me about how that man chased her down the road, jerking his bloody stump dick and shouting incantations.
Yeah.
So I understand. And they were blacks. We know those are the jive-assest motherfuckers out there.
Yes.
It backed him all the way down.
Wow. She's good at strategy.
She is good at this fucking game.
She is.
He went from frothing at the mouth, demanding to know why she wouldn't fuck him,
Mm-hmm.
or at least make out,
Yeah.
to, oh, my bad.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
You're a victim of assault, and I'm a racist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that go,
Right?
and I'll never ever mess with you sexually until you're ready.
What a gentleman.
And that is where I will leave you
Oh.
for this episode of Cindy and David West.
Oh my
Cindy,
God.
Campbell Ray, and David West.
Oh, Kim, you gotta bring the hammer down on these fools.
Oh, she's gonna bring the hammer.
Yes.
Kim is gonna bring it. Kim is gonna be the MVP of the story. Kim's gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you. Kim is gonna give it to you. Gonna give it to you.
Right, and you give it to Kim by subscribing, ding ding, comment, like,
Ring the bell,
follow.
like all of the things.
Yes.
Shoot us an email. talkdeadlytome@gmail.com.
Exactly.
Go ahead. We answer shit. We do stuff. And on that note, I've been Samara.
And I've been cheating.
And this has
Has
been
been
Talk
Talk
Deadly to Me.
Bow, 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 bow.